All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Township of Mapleton Council meeting for April the 11th, 2023. I call this meeting to order. And if you are able, please rise for O Canada. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Confirmation of minutes. Recommendation is that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Council meeting held on March 21st, 2023 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda package. That's moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Tamlin. Any questions, comments? All in favor? That's carried. We have no matters arising from the minutes. And going to number 6, matters under the Planning Act. So we'll go into a planning meeting. This is a public meeting under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies and to give consideration to an application ZBA 2023-05 for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at part lots 2 and 3, concession 11, known as 7937 Wellington Road 8. And the purpose and effect is to rezone the lands for a temporary period of time to permit an outdoor skating rink and associated change room facilities. We will now receive information from the clerk regarding statutory requirements. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that agencies and Mapleton staff were provided with the required notice on March 23rd. There were no comments received from Mapleton staff, and the agency comments are attached to the agenda. Proper postings were completed on March 23rd. Comments were received from the GRCA and County of Wellington Planning Department, and they are in the agenda package. Mapleton's planning report prepared by Linda Redmond is in the agenda package. And there were ratepayer comments in the agenda, as well as 2 received after the agenda was published, and I'll read those out. The first is from Ray Weber. And Ray lives at 7901 Wellington Road 8. My name is Ray Weber, and I live next door to the proposed ice rink and am in full support. I feel it is unnecessary to allow only temporary permit and the need to reapply and have to pay yet another application fee. Please consider a permanent zone amendment. Second letter was from Harry and Wendy Sturbit from 73 John Street. As members of the community and neighbors bordering the affected property, we strongly support the application for the permanent rezoning of the property at 7937 Wellington Road 8 to allow the installation of an outdoor skating rink and associated change room facilities. If you have any questions regarding our letter, please do not hesitate to contact us, and they give their email address and phone number. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Linda Redmond, the planner. Linda.
Thank you, Mayor. So this application is on a property that is located right adjacent to the Drayton urban boundary. The farm itself is within the rural or agriculture portion, but there is a portion of the property that does sit within the urban boundary. So it's really, really close to the urban boundary. That is one of the reasons why we thought perhaps this as a temporary use might be ideal for this location. The policies do support a limited amount of recreational uses within the prime agricultural area. Usually those uses have to be done through an official plan amendment, but those are usually uses that are large in scale and are associated with a recreational area like Conestoga Lake is a perfect example, or some kind of a recreational campsite or what have you. In this case, it's a use that is going to only be seasonal. It's only the winter months, clearly, because it's an outdoor ice skating rink. And we just felt that the policies could support this type of use because it's a minor use. It's also going to be utilized by the Mennonite community, which they do in our official plan. There are special provisions to accommodate these types of communities in our county. So from that perspective, we felt it was maybe appropriate to be located in the rural area as well. Particularly the Mennonite community being the farming community itself, they're within their own community from that perspective as well. So this report is just for information, to gather information from the public, to see how people in the neighborhood feel. And clearly we can see from all the letters of support that there's no conflict at this point. And if you read the report at the end, I did indicate to council that they do have an option of approving it permanently with a site-specific exemption to allow the skating rink, in a seasonal capacity. We can put parameters around it in terms of when it can be utilized and how, the scale of it and the usage of it, if that's preference to council. And then that would save them having to come back to renew it again if they get a temporary use. If they go with the temporary use, or if council goes with the temporary use, it's only going to be allowed for 3 years max, and then they have to come back for renewal every 3 years. So there's a bit of a, monetary expectation there, as well as the onerous of coming back every 3 years. So there's those options for council, and that's all I have to say. Now it's up to you.
Thank you, Linda. And Marvin, do you have anything to add to what you do? Please take the podium and push the button.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marvin Weber, and I'd like to thank you. Privilege of being here tonight, and like to say hi to all of you. And we're just planning to make a outdoor rink for the community, and we want to do it for our neighbors and friends, and especially the church community. And we would like to. I just did a bit of a search tonight on statistics, and I looked up the benefits of playing hockey. And they said that one of them, there were 10 tips, and it said one of them was mental wellness. And the last meeting I was here, there was we all know how much mental health issues there are in the world today. And I just thought I'd share that. So thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. Are there comments from those in attendance? Please indicate so and state your name and address for the record. We will first hear for those that are in support of the zoning amendment. If you are in support and wish to speak, please go to the podium. I know we have a bunch of letters from everybody, so we already have those, but if you want to speak, please go to the podium.
Hi, my name is Harry Sturbett. I'm one of those 2 emails. We moved in Drayton about 5 years ago, and we loved the place from the beginning, and our neighbors. Marvin has been is our neighbor to the northwest of our property. We are we've got to know them. We've got to know how welcoming they are. And although we are not part of the Mennonite community, they made us well. They received us with open arms, and we've seen what a community means for them, and we would like to support them in this endeavor. So again, as my wife's and our email said, we would love to support them into this, and I think it's a well worth initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there anybody here that wish to speak in opposition? All right, any questions from council then? To the applicant or to our planner?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Yeah, this is a wonderfully generous thing that you're doing. One question I have, will there be lights on it? So you'd be using it at night. I guess a question would be maybe to the planner, are there any concerns then with the lights and the noise being it's close to a senior's residence there?
Linda?
Through you, Mayor. So the zoning bylaw does have provisions in terms of lighting facilities, and that there's requirements for how they're, how it's cast, where it is to reflect onto. So certainly we would be requiring that. With respect to the noise, the noise bylaw would be the tool that would implement that.
Mr. Martin, maybe you'd like to take the podium and just in case there's any questions, but for the lighting and for the noise, do you have a time where you're? Oh, sorry, Mr. Weber, will you a time that you're cutting off hockey? Is there like a certain time at nighttime you won't be playing?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had, it'll probably be off and starting at like 9 o'clock to 11. It'll be the general, even 8:30 to 10:30, give or take, depending. And actually, I did think of the seniors home, and I did email them specifically, and I asked if there'd be any issues in this. And they said they had a council meeting, and they said there were no issues. So.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? You might as well just stay at the podium there, sir.
No, you don't need to for me unless
Okay.
somebody else does.
Well, I just might have one. You never know.
I did like that you pushed the whole mental wellness. Wait till you become a hockey parent, and then we'll see if it's still good for your mental health. If you got a referee like that out there on the ice. But specific to this, I think it's a great spot. I like how the rink's proposed to be kept kind of within the cluster of the farm buildings, right? It's not spreading out into the fields too much, and you've certainly got the support of your neighborhood, right? Which for these things means an awful lot typically. And I mean, we've seen rinks like this do well, right? There's one out on the Center Side Road that's been there since I was a kid or before, right? So I think these things can operate really well, and you guys have clearly determined there's a need, right, locally within your community, and I think it's a great spot for it. I do hate the idea of every 3 years having to do this all over again. If there'd be some way to, I don't know, not streamline it, but make it permanent. If there's any issues, it can be kind of dealt with. Sorry? I can put a motion on the floor. Do you want to do it now or after the discussion? Good.
Any other comments, questions then? Just one follow-up question. The building you're going to be doing, it's a single floor building? Is it 2 floors? And it looks like it's a fair distance away from the rink. So how are you getting people from one to the other? Do you have a shuttle bus?
That's a good question. So we were actually discussing that in the recent day here. We were going to make a skating trail over to the rink. And there's been a bit of discussion on that. We are wondering if we couldn't, we'll maybe adjust that so we don't need a skating trail, because there was a bit of a discussion on that. And yes, the shop will be a single floor.
Thank you. Anything further? Any questions, comments? So Mr. Martin? Do you have a motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would propose that we address this to be on a permanent basis. However, that needs to be worded.
Have a seconder for that? Council Reed? Any discussion? All in favor to make it permanent instead of temporary? That's carried. Thank you. Public meeting is now concluded. We'll get to the, sorry. Do I- Moved by Councillor Tamlin, second by Councillor Ottens, that the planning report regarding ZBA 2023-05 Webton Farms Inc. Parts Lot 2 and 3, Plan of Bolton. Part lots 241, 242, 243, concession 11, municipally known as 7937 Wellington Road 8 be received for information and discussion. The recommendation report will be prepared after the public meeting. And it'll be on a permanent basis. Yes. Any further comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We have today one delegation that has coming to speak with us, and that's Intact Public Entities, Colin Smith, and of course, Jeremy Brown. Welcome to the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for having us. We're happy to be here. I'm joined with, well, Colin Smith from Intact Public Entities, and we're happy to present the 2023 or answer any of your questions about the 2023 insurance renewal for the township.
Thank you, Jeremy. Kind of disappointed that everyone didn't want to stick around and listen about insurance, but that's okay. We can offer some risk management advice for outdoor skating rinks, that's for sure, but ones that are owned by the municipality. For those that may have not seen me before, my name is Colin Smith. I am a regional manager at Intact Public Entities. I look after the insurance programs for various municipalities throughout Wellington County, several other neighboring counties as well, and the lower tier municipalities. So Intact Public Entities is formerly known as Frank Cowan Company. So we've been insuring municipalities for over 9 decades, providing insurance programs with our select insuring partners, and also partnering with local brokers such as Jeremy Brown to provide insurance programs to municipalities such as Mapleton. So I just want to talk a little bit about your 2023 insurance program. It began effective January 1st. So here we are in April, just a little more of an information session, talk a bit about the insurance markets and some of the answer some of the burning questions you may have, especially regarding price. So I will just touch a bit on the insurance market. So we are currently on, well, we hope the tail end of perhaps one of the longer hard markets that the insurance industry has seen in a number of decades. And the hard insurance market is a time where the amount of coverage available, the capacity of the insurers is reduced, and that in turn increases the prices. Hard markets are typically brought on by claims. Claims drive premiums ultimately. Maybe you might be thinking, you know, do we have claims? Is it something that we're doing? While you've had claims in the past, it's more on a broad scale across the province. Your neighboring municipalities, all municipalities over the last couple of years during this hard market have felt to some degree these increases in insurance rates. So it is not something that is just on the township of Mapleton, but it's certainly something that is at the foresight of everyone and asking questions, how can we help? How can we reduce our costs? Things like that. So For 2023, the insurance rates are up 21% for the Township of Mapleton over the expiring premium. There's a combination of factors that have driven those rate increases. I have a publication attached to this summary that talks about the factors that are driving the increased costs. And inflation for 2023 is another big one too. When we're looking at the consumer price index coming into 2021 in the last quarter of 22, we're upwards of 7%. And then on buildings, construction replacement costs as well, those were inflated even more so. And all that is factored into insurance rates as well. And we also have not necessarily again in Mapleton or even Wellington County, but other municipalities throughout the province have been the unfortunate subject of some pretty substantial claims. And all of that is reviewed by the insurers that look after these programs too. So it all plays into the rates across the province. And then so some other things that Intact Public Entities continues to do is partner with all of the associations, especially some of the larger bodies like AMO, Good Roads, and advocating where we can, providing them with information, because insurance is definitely a topic on their agenda for discussion, being brought forward by many municipalities. So we're here to assist them where we can. There's been lobbying efforts about the joint several rule. Well, that is not the driving force per se behind the overall insurance market. It is certainly one that Ontario municipalities are subject to. But so we have provided information in the past to help out with reviewing how that may affect premiums. But again, that's just one of a multitude of factors that affect your rates. And then so you might be thinking, what can we do locally as a township? What types of things can we look at to help reduce our costs? I like to say that risk needs to be looked at from a holistic perspective. So it's reducing your risk, reducing the frequency and severity of claims. Preventing those claims will ultimately keep your insurance rates stable, all things being equal. So we're getting back to hopefully a time where a soft market is going to take hold again and rates will become a little bit more stable. Are they going to go down? Perhaps not from the level they are at right now. But there was a period of time in the last soft market where there was a few years of slight increases or decreases, sorry, like 1 or 2% below your expiring rates. So I'm not ruling that out, but chances are rates across the province are going to be pretty steady where they are. So we're hoping that soft market will start to show and take shape as we get towards 2024. And another thing that we can do coming up to the next renewal is look at your deductible options. So that is assuming more risk as a township. What can you financially absorb, how that may affect your premiums? Because if you increase your deductible, there's of course savings. So we can look at those types of coverages where you may not have frequent claims and see what types of premium credits go along with those increased deductibles. So that is another thing. And then also obviously municipalities across the province are asking questions. So they, topics like pooling have come up, reciprocals, that type of stuff. So we're also providing information on that where we can and where it might be a good fit for municipalities. So with that, I'm open to any questions regarding the summary, any coverages, but the gist of my presentation here was just to talk a bit about the price and why it is where it is today.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Questions then? Or other Colin or Jeremy? Jeremy's in the background. It's like, no, just Colin.
I can handle it. That's okay.
Good. Nope. Councillor Ottens. Councillor Ottens.
There we go. Yes, thank you through you, Mayor. Sounds like the way you describe it, when other municipalities have claims, everybody's premiums go up, whereas in, I guess, our world, if somebody else has accidents, my premiums don't go up. So why is that different at the municipal level? That's kind of how you described it. Why do we all have to pay for somebody else's misfortune, which is unfortunate, but that's the point of insurance, right?
Sorry. That's on. Yeah, no, you're correct in a way that insurance in general, whether it's municipal insurance, you know, your own home, your own auto insurance. The idea of insurance is that the losses of the few are paid by the premiums of the many. So insurance in and of itself is pooling. So the ability for an insurance company to provide $50 million of coverage to any one municipality per se, at a certain premium, the ability to do that is because of the volume of premium that is coming in with the rest of municipalities. And obviously insurers that back municipalities are also in the business of providing home and auto and commercial and industrial insurance. And so it's all a cycle. Insurance is affected by everything, not just municipalities. And I will say that, you know, to your question too about personal auto, I don't deal in personal auto per se, but our rates across the province do go up because of the claims and fraud. There's, you know, fraud is definitely a big thing on the auto side. Faking accidents, injuries, those types of things are inflating injuries. So those do drive our rates up. Even though you may not have had an accident, your insurance rates probably went up over the last 4 years on your auto policy as well. But to answer your question directly, yes, if other municipalities have claims, it can affect the rest of the industry and other municipalities as well. Just as if Mapleton had a large claim, in a sense that your neighbors would be helping to pay for that. And overall, it is the concept of insurance.
Thank you for that answer. Councillor Tamlin.
Okay, thank you. So my questions are, as far as, again, you've given us the broad scale picture of how it all raises up and all and definitely agree with all the inflation costs of replacing infrastructure and CPI and all those kind of things. Now, you're saying, you know, as a municipality, you can look at your deductibles and stuff like that, but also, you know, if you're going to mitigate risks, and by that, I'm thinking you mean by not having to claim, then the premiums are going to stay the same as like on your car, right? You have a big accident, then you can still pay for it in the long run, kind of thing. You know, are there, as far as whether it's like flood mitigation or other things that are happening on a larger scale, you know, are there, if the municipalities take an incentive to reduce those risks, are there incentives then to reduce the premium? Like if you had like the safe driver, or you have like a thing that measures your speeds per kilometer, you know, just as an analogy. Is there anything like that?
Off, I guess, when through your mayor. To a certain degree, there are ways that we can start looking at your risk profile and things that you're doing to help accurately factor in all those good things you're doing to help reduce your risk, and how that may down the road mean that you have less frequent claims, less severe claims. So the unfortunate part about the way society is starting to lean, being more litigious, and especially on the municipal side, you have motor vehicle accidents that can take upwards of 10 years to resolve. And some of them don't come to head until 2 years after the accident happened. So it's very hard to say what you're doing now is going to result in premium reductions in a few years, because it could take 10 years. Just as we had another municipality, a claim settled in the fall. The accident happened in 2012, I believe. It settled in 2022 for $15 million and said the municipality was 100% negligent. So if we said back in 2011, that municipality, you're doing everything great, all of a sudden you get hit with this claim. We think maybe it'll go away, but all of a sudden it takes a turn for the worse 10 years later. So the idea is to keep your premiums stable, and the way to do that is to mitigate your risk and have as few claims as possible. And to add to that is we have a full risk management department of 12 professionals. We have certified engineering technologists that do our building inspections, hazard inspections on your infrastructure. We have a road specialist that can review sections of roadway that may be a problem, have a frequency of accidents that could end up being named in a lawsuit the municipality because of the design or something like that. So we have a road expert that can come out and look at certain sections of roadway. We do sidewalk reviews. Our inspectors will actually walk your sidewalk, because trip and falls on sidewalks are a big claim driver amongst municipalities. So we look at sections of sidewalk, inspect them, and offer recommendations of what you can do to help reduce the frequency of slip and falls as well. So, yeah.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This might be a bad question, but I'm curious. because I'm not sure how the insurance markets intertwine, although you said everything affects everything. So I guess my question is, does the volatility that we've seen recently in the banking sector, does that touch your insurance market at all? And is that something that touches you now, or is that something that we can anticipate, down the road if it does influence it?
I guess just to clarify, I guess the type of volatility, like are you talking interest rates, those types of things, or just? Okay, yeah. Mhm. I don't know if that's something that you would know, Jeremy, attorney, but to some degree, I'm sure it does in the grand scheme of things with the reinsurers and their investments, and insurers have to keep a certain amount of liquidity to pay for claims, and those are put aside in certain bank accounts, I'm sure. So it could affect it in a certain way, but not to an extreme degree that would affect your rates.
Other questions, comments? Councilor Martin? Tamlin, sorry.
No.
As far as insurance companies, having that pool of money, a lot of money is generated by investment as well, investment portfolios as well. Now, how, I'm not too aware of Intact. Is that information like publicly available as far as kind of like ethical investment as well? I know some insurance companies are investing in climate mitigation and other things because of the payouts that are happening. Like as far as a company Intact is where is that money being generated as well? Is it in banks, oil or stuff like that? Is that kind of information that's readily available to know where it's a big chunk of money from municipality going in, for insurance, for good purposes, but to know that that money is also not adding to something or being used ethically.
I don't, so we are a managing general agent. Intact Financial Corporation owns us. So we are a subsidiary of Intact Financial. We place the insurance program with subscribing insurers. So that's there's various insurers, including Lloyd's syndicates, etc. Temple is another one. Liberty Mutual, Intact Insurance is a sister company. They're also a subscribing insurer. So they would all have different ways of looking at that. But in terms of climate resiliency, I guess on that topic, Intact Public Entities, we did last year, we ended up with about $1 million in a climate resiliency grant across Canada. So 10 municipalities were selected. They each got a certain amount to go towards flood mitigation measures, those types of things. So that money is being reinvested, but that was an Intact Public Entities initiative as opposed to the insurers that back our program. So
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
They're good. Councilor Tamlin? You guys use the microphone.
And so how would you find out about that? And would that be an ongoing thing that's still available to municipalities if we're looking at helping fund some of the infrastructure costs?
Don't know if that is going to continue in 2023. It is something that we were talking about, but certainly if it does continue on, we would issue a publication to all municipalities to take a look at that. And there's an application process, and you have to have an initiative that it would go towards kind of already in the works to apply for it. So
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Tamlin. That they were really forefront with that program. They sent out emails. It was on social media. We were well aware of that program, so they did a really good job of promoting it. Councilor Ottens?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. One other thing, and obviously a lot of the rising costs in insurance are because of increasing damage payouts. It sounds like they've been doubling and tripling even within 10 years. So I know that you've been lobbying at the provincial level, I believe, for the joint and several liability, but what about lobbying at the legal and judicial level to maybe for a cap on these payouts or more reasonable damage awards? Has that ever been done by the industry?
through you, Mayor. Yes, that is a topic that has been brought up amongst the industry. So What we're here to do is help provide some of the background, as opposed to lobbying ourselves, assisting some of the associations, other municipalities that may have a risk management department, et cetera, that are more involved in the claim side of things, that might be going to that judiciary level and lobbying them. So again, it's just more of a support role for us and providing some of the background stuff on the claims and the types of damages that are being awarded across the province.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Thank you both for coming today and providing us some information on the insurance. And we certainly don't like 23%, but that's what we're stuck with. Everyone is stuck with, not just Mapleton, but it's right across the board. And we certainly understand that. We just thank you for your time and not just here today, but I know we've had conversations just even a couple of weeks ago. Certainly enjoy those conversations and get the insight of what's happening. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Resolution here moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Tamlin, that the delegation of intact public entities, Colin Smith and Jeremy Brown regarding Mapleton's 2023 insurance renewal summary be received for information. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you, guys. We have no minutes from committees, so move on to the building department report with the report for March 10, we have a recommendation here that Township of Mapleton Council receive for information, Building Department Report BD 2023-04 dated April 11th, 2023 regarding March month end and year to date. That was moved by Councillor Tamlin, second by Councillor Ottens. Questions or comments on that report? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Moving on to the next item, 9.2.1. Moved by Councillor Ottens, second by Councillor Tamlin. The Township of Mapleton Council received for information CAO Report 2023-04 dated April 11th, 2023 regarding the appointment of Tim Schwarzentrooper as Deputy Chief Building Official. And further that council pass a bylaw appointing Tim Schwarzentrooper as Deputy Chief Building Official. Mr. Barron.
Thank you, Your Worship. Really, the report, as I stated in the report, it was quite a challenging time to attract a building official. But in this case, I think good things come to those who wait. So Tim was an excellent hire, and from basically day one, we've noticed the impact that he's had within Mapleton, and already he's made some great relationships with their builders, and we had RSM who served us very well. Back then, we were able to meet the legislative timelines to turn around a permit of 10 days. And now I think the last conversation I had with Tim, we're about 3 days for the last few. So we're back to where we were a little bit ago before we had troubles finding some building officials. So and then with this move, one of the strategic reasons we do it is because RSM does some of the things that a CBO can do. So it'll eliminate the RSM portions, which means increased charges, and we can absorb those charges within by making him deputy CBO.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. And I know that Tim's eager to get out of here because he's got an appointment at 8 o'clock. You know, he just keeps working, and I know that talking with Tim and people in the community, he's already made an impact, as the CEO has said. When people are calling and they actually know him by name already, which is good. And he's running into people that he used to deal with in his previous location, and they speak highly of him. So questions then on this report from council? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Well, congratulations, Tim. And move on to the next item. We have item 9.3.1. It's a change from what you have had in the agenda package. 9.3.1 moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reed. that Township of Mapleton Council postpone indefinitely consideration of agenda item 9.3.1 Public Works Department Report PW 2023-06 regarding the Drayton concession booth. Any questions or comments on this? All in favor of postponing? That's carried. Thank you. Next item is item number 10. Moved by Councillor Reed, second by Councillor Martin, that bylaw 2023-021, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2010-080, being a zoning bylaw for the Township of Mapleton, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with a corporate seal. Any questions or comments on the approval of bylaws? I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. We have 6 items on the correspondence for council's information. Any questions or comments on those? So, hang on. I missed 10.2. Well. My apologies. We'll go back to 10.2. This is moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Reed. That bylaw number 2023-022 being a bylaw to permanently close parts of various road allowances known as Alexander Street, Church Street, Napier Street, and Hannah Street, all on registered plan 134 in the geographic former township of Pilkington, now in the Township of Mapleton, County of Wellington, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with a corporate seal. Mr. Clerk, you want to speak to this?
This is just a little update. This is for the exact subdivision, the exact construction in Elma, and they've submitted a subdivision plan.
Thank you. Questions then from council? I'll call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Now we'll go to the next one, correspondence for council information, number 12. Anybody wish to speak or have any questions on any of those items? All right, move on then. Any notices of motion? And we'll move on to other business, number 15. Anybody have other business to bring up? The farm show we have coming up starts tomorrow and goes till Friday. So that's we do have some council members that are spending some time there at our booth. I know Ali's going to be spending a bunch of time there at our booth, and it should be another good show. It's great to have that farm show back. We thank the Kinsmen and all the volunteers for getting that together, and I know it's going to be a good show like it is every year. Anything else? Any other business? All right. We don't have a closed session. So move on to item 17, moved by Councillor Reed, second by Councillor Martin. That bylaw number 2023-024 being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of the council corporation of the Township of Mapleton be hereby read a first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with a corporate seal. All those in favor? Now we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.